Have you ever sprinkled a little cinnamon in your coffee or added a dash of cumin to your dinner and thought about where it came from? Welcome to FoodSaga. Like, subscribe, and comment for more. Let's start. You might be surprised to learn that the story of these simple spices is an epic tale that stretches back thousands of years to the very dawn of civilization. Today, we are going on a journey to ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia to uncover how the hunt for flavor kick-started global trade and connected the world in ways never seen before. Imagine living over 4,000 years ago in the bustling cities along the Nile or between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Life was vibrant, but the flavors were, let's say, limited. Then, something extraordinary appeared. Spices. We are not just talking about salt and pepper. We are talking about exotic, aromatic treasures like cinnamon, cumin, coriander, and the legendary frankincense and myrrh. In a world without refrigeration, these weren't just luxuries. They were revolutionary. For the people of Egypt and Mesopotamia, these spices were worth more than gold. Why? Because they were incredibly rare and difficult to get. Cinnamon didn't grow along the banks of the Nile, and frankincense trees didn't dot the plains of Mesopotamia. These precious goods came from far away, almost mythical lands, the coasts of Arabia, the distant Indus Valley in what is now Pakistan and India, and even further east. Acquiring them required dangerous and costly expeditions across treacherous deserts and unpredictable seas. This rarity made them the ultimate status symbol. If you were a pharaoh or a king, you would showcase your wealth and power not just with gold and jewels, but with storerooms filled with fragrant spices. The scent of burning frankincense in a temple or the taste of foreign spice in a royal banquet was a clear message. I am powerful enough to command the treasures of the known world. The common person might only dream of such things, perhaps catching a whiff as a royal procession passed by. But these spices were so much more than just fancy food additives or air fresheners for the elite. They were deeply woven into the fabric of everyday life and death. Let's start with medicine. Ancient physicians were also herbalists, and they discovered that many spices had powerful medicinal properties. Coriander was used to soothe stomach ailments, and cumin was believed to have healing powers. These weren't just old wives' tales. They were the foundations of early pharmacology. Spices were a crucial part of the ancient medical toolkit, used to treat everything from minor pains to serious illnesses. Then there was their role in preservation. In a hot climate with no refrigerators, keeping food from spoiling was a constant battle. Spices, with their natural antimicrobial properties, were a game changer. Heavily spicing meat and fish could help preserve them for longer, a critical advantage for storing food and sustaining armies on the march. This practical application made spices essential for food security and military logistics. And we can't talk about ancient Egypt without talking about mummification. The Egyptians believed that preserving the body was essential for the soul's journey into the afterlife. What did they use to do this? You guessed it, spices. The body cavity of the deceased would be washed and packed with fragrant and preserving agents like myrrh, cassia, and cinnamon. These spices help to dry out the body, prevent decay, and perfume it for eternity. So, when you think of a mummy, think of it as being, in a way, one of the most expensively seasoned things in history. Of course, the spiritual and ritualistic uses were just as important. The air in the grand temples of Karnak or the ziggurats of yore would have been thick with the smoke of burning incense. Frankincense and myrrh were offered to the gods as a form of prayer, their fragrant smoke believed to carry messages from the mortal world to the divine realm. These resins were seen as the very tears or sweat of the gods, making them incredibly sacred. No major religious ceremony, royal funeral, or important ritual would be complete without them. Spices were the bridge between heaven and earth. So, the demand was enormous. From the royal court to the temple, from the doctor's satchel to the embalmer's table, everyone wanted spices. But since they couldn't be grown locally, there was only one solution: trade. And not just any trade, long distance, international trade on a scale never attempted before. This insatiable demand for spices became the engine that drove the creation of the world's first major trade routes. Hardy merchants began organizing vast camel caravans, the ships of the desert, to traverse the unforgiving Arabian Peninsula. These journeys were epic undertakings, lasting for months and fraught with dangers like bandits, sandstorms, and the simple, deadly risk of getting lost. The roots they forged became the famous incense route, a network of trails connecting southern Arabia, the source of frankincense and myrrh, with the great civilizations to the north. Simultaneously, daring sailors took to the seas. They navigated the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf, learning to harness the monsoon winds to sail across the open Indian Ocean to the shores of the Indus Valley and beyond. These maritime voyages were just as risky as the overland caravans, but the potential rewards were immense. A single successful shipment of cinnamon or pepper could make a merchant fabulously wealthy. These trade routes were more than just lines on a map. They were conduits of change. As spices moved from east to west, so did ideas, technologies, languages, and cultures. Merchants from different lands met at bustling trade hubs and oases, exchanging not just goods but also knowledge. A scribe in Mesopotamia might learn about a new mathematical concept from a trader who had visited the Indus Valley. An Egyptian architect might hear about a novel building technique from a sailor just returned from Arabia. This exchange was a two-way street. While Egypt and Mesopotamia imported spices, they exported their own goods, grains, textiles, papyrus, and beautifully crafted luxury items. This created a complex web of economic interdependence. The prosperity of a city in Mesopotamia could now be linked to the success of a spice harvest thousands of miles away. A political disruption in Egypt could send shockwaves through the trade routes, affecting the price of frankincense in a distant port. What we're witnessing here is the birth of globalization. It didn't start with the internet or the steam engine. It started with a craving for flavor and a need to honor the gods. The movement of these small, dried bits of plants laid the foundation for a connected global economy. It proved that different cultures, separated by vast distances, could be linked together through the shared desire for each other's resources. The spice trade created a new class of wealthy merchants, fostered the growth of powerful port cities, and drove innovations in navigation and transportation. It funded empires and, at times, even fueled conflicts as different powers vied for control over the lucrative routes. The story of spices is the story of human ambition, exploration, and our innate desire to connect with the wider world. So, the next time you open your spice rack, take a moment to appreciate the incredible history packed into those little jars. Think of the ancient caravans crossing the desert under a blanket of stars, the sailors braving unknown waters, and the pharaohs who would have given a fortune for a taste of what you are about to put in your food. That pinch of cumin is a direct link to the ancient world, a tiny, edible piece of history that reminds us how the search for flavor helped shape the world we live in today. It's a powerful reminder that some of the biggest changes in human history started with something very, very small. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Let us know in the comments which spice you find most fascinating. Thanks for watching Food Saga, and see you next time.